So now, for more on this, we've reached Mark Nasr. He's the Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer at Air Canada. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Arthi.
So, Mark, yesterday it appeared that Air Canada and the union were still far apart in terms of negotiations. Talks had taken a pause since the previous Friday. What changed overnight?
We've been in discussions with CUPE for about 9 months now, and we've always been committed to reaching a deal at the table. I think if you consider the enormous amount of disruption that's happened to the Canadian traveling public, to the Canadian economy, our focus on resolving the situation, and we're just so happy that we're able to come to a deal to give Air Canada flight attendants Canadian industry-leading compensation.
When it comes to resolving the situation, a CUPE representative has told CBC News that unpaid work is over. That was part of a statement that was issued following the news of a tentative deal being reached. Did Air Canada change its position on that? What can you tell us about what was agreed to there?
Ground pay is settled. Our flight attendants will be compensated for their time on the ground. This has been part of our offer for several months now. It absolutely should be in there. And we're so happy that we finally reached this industry-leading deal that allows our flight attendants to be compensated for the important work, safety work, customer service work that they perform on the ground. So it's in there, and it's been in the offer for several months now.
If it had been in the offer for several months now, what is it that was pausing the progress in the discussions? Because that was a major sticking point.
You know, I think in the coming days and weeks, we'll reflect on what occurred. But right now, Canadians are expecting of Air Canada, of CUPE, to get the planes back in the sky and get our customers moving again. So I'm sitting here today in our Operations Control Center in Brampton, Ontario, and we've got a group of coworkers focused on doing just that. And we cannot wait to welcome our 10,000 flight attendants, each and every one of them, back in the skies when we recommence operations this afternoon.
How much of a difference did it make in those talks when we saw CUPE say that a second order was going to be defied and the strike was going to continue?
You know, again, what we're focused on is getting the planes back in the air and getting customers moving. And we're just so grateful that we were able to arrive at this industry-leading deal for Canada with our flight attendants. The focus right now, we've got 5,000 Air Canada coworkers mobilized to rebook our customers. We're offering rebookings both now in Air Canada that we're back in the air, as well as 120 other airlines, including our competitors. We're offering customers the ability to change their travel dates with no change fee for up to a year from now. And for those where it's appropriate, we're also offering refunds. We're going to deliver transparency. We're going to get the airline running, and we're going to make sure that we communicate with the public every step of the way on our website and our mobile app exactly what our status is.
And I'm sure that is welcome news for many of those Air Canada passengers who have had their travel plans tremendously disrupted over the past several days. You know, I do want to go back to that question about the back to work order that was defied by the flight attendants, and that was at the direction of CUPE. How did that catch Air Canada off guard? And was that part of the leverage that it took to perhaps get the deal here that needed to be reached?
We've always said that the best deal is a deal at the table, and we never left the table. We've been at the table for 9 months now, and we're so happy that our flight attendants are going to get the industry-leading contract for Canadian flight attendants that they deserve, and we're incredibly happy that they're going to get the chance to have their vote heard and vote on the agreement. Our focus is on recognizing the contributions of our flight attendants. It's been that way the whole time along. We're going to get the planes back in the sky. We're going to get our customers moving, and as a management team, if I may say, we know that we need to rebuild the trust and confidence of our customers and our 10,000 flight attendants. Myself and the rest of our leadership team are personally committed to doing so, and we're not going to stop until we've succeeded as such.
There has been a lot of criticism that Air Canada is too reliant on the federal government, that they prematurely went to the minister with this particular contract dispute. What do you say to criticisms of that?
I think the focus right now is getting the planes back in the air and getting customers going. And we've always said the best deal is a deal at the table. We've been negotiating, as I said, for nearly 9 months. So that was always our primary strategy, and that's exactly what happened in this case, unfortunately, after a large disruption. And now what we need to do is we need to recover from that disruption, and we just got to get people to where they need to be.
We heard from the Jobs Minister, Patty Hajdu, that following these sort of the contract dispute and the issues that were being raised, that the ministry will be launching a probe into allegations of unpaid work in the airline sector at Air Canada and beyond as well. What do you make of that probe, and how will it impact Air Canada operations and the industry?
For sure. I think Air Canada flight attendants achieved a historic win through this new agreement. And they will be compensated for their time on the ground. And that's what we think is right as a company. That's what we think is right as a management team. It's what our flight attendants deserve. And that's exactly what they're going to get. As to the effect on other airlines, that's not a question for me.
Why do you think it took this amount of time for that groundwork issue to be dealt with? Why was it not dealt with in previous contracts?
As I said, it's been on the table throughout our negotiations of this contract. And in previous agreements, this has not been something that has been raised. So this is something that QP has asked for. It's something that we believe is the right thing to do. That's why we've had it on the table. That's why that's now done for our flight attendants. And going forward, we've set a new standard, and Air Canada flight attendants are leading the industry here.
Mark, we've seen that it will take at least 10 days, 7 to 10 days to get operations back up to scale. What do you have to say to the customers, many of whom have said to us that they will not be using Air Canada again? They feel that the customer service that was provided during the course of this contract dispute was not up to standard, that their experience was left them appalled by their interactions with the company.
We're profoundly sorry for the impact that this disruption has had on all of our customers. And we are committed to doing what's right and taking care of our customers and getting them on their way. And we will not stop until that's done. We've mobilized 5,000 Air Canada coworkers to do rebookings. We've added new digital tools just in the last 24 hours and will continue to do so. We're looking at all of our policies to make sure that they are supportive and they are the right thing for our customers through this period. And as I said, we recognize that we need to rebuild trust and confidence. We have the privilege of carrying the maple leaf on our tail all around the world. Canadians can and should have high expectations of Air Canada. And we're going to live up to those expectations. But again, we're profoundly sorry for the disruption out there.
Mark, I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm sure there will be more questions, so hopefully you'll be able to join us again as more details come to light. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Mark Nasr is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer at Air Canada.